All right, Boulder, let's talk about it. We're starting to see all the experts put out their thoughts on the Buffs going into the season. You're starting to hear about what they're seeing when it comes to the roster. So there's a lot of content flowing out there. And one ESPN analyst, one of the trusted voices out there, gave a nice warning about Colorado that everybody else needs to look at. Plus, my guy over at the Pick Six Preview, this book, had some solid things to say as well about what the Buffs are going to look like coming up this season. So let's dive into that, and let's talk about what the Buffs can be here on the Prime Time for College Football. Thank y'all for pulling up. Your boy Jay. There's a lot to talk about around what the Buffs are, what they can, what they can't be, especially because the biggest talk right now around Colorado is the fact that Coach Prime, now that he's returned, he ain't got his kids. And he ain't got Travis. So he's basically now recreating things for the year. But that's actually a good thing for Colorado. Let me explain what I mean by that. Because right now, the Buffs are really a massive unknown. So ESPN's David Hale, they put together their tiers list of teams. And they have Colorado in tier 11 out of the top, 130-something teams. 136 teams, 20 tiers. And he ranked all of them. But what he said in here is tier 11 are your potential sleepers. There's 7 teams on this list. 7 teams include Cincinnati, Colorado, Houston, North Carolina, Pittsburgh, Rutgers, and Virginia. And the one thing that they said about not only Bill Belichick over there at North Carolina, but also Coach Prime is this. This will be the first time that Prime will be playing without Shedeur, Travis, Shiloh. So he's got to, start something new. And we talked about it in the last video I put out this morning, how the Buffs on the rush game have not been successful the 2 years that Prime has been here. It's been a struggle. And Colorado has only topped 150 yards in design runs only once in the last 2 years. So that's not something that's been any good. But with that, you've got 2 players that ended up on the Dope Walker watch list, in Dalen Hayden as well as Michael Welch. So it appears that the mindset around is that Colorado is about to transition the way that they play ball, and that's going to lead to big-time dividends and potential success long-term. The Buffs they weren't running the ball much, didn't have to, but at the same time, they also struggled when it comes to the offense itself, especially with the offensive line. Shedeur had to go out there and be a hero, and the good thing is they put up, 32 points per game, top, 35 in the country. But with the reform of the offensive line, the sense is, in adding Marshall Faulk as your running back coach, that the Buffs are going to be able to actually run the ball a heck of a lot more than we expect. But in that case, now Colorado's got to prove it. And that's where this year is going to be a very interesting one, especially with all the warnings that's coming down, because most of the warnings are basically pointing out that, hey, they may not have Shedeur, they may not have Travis, they may not have Shiloh, but they got Juju Lewis, they got Caden Salters, and it appears that the Buffs are going to surprise teams a lot more than you expect. Now, most don't think that Colorado's going to be that good, especially because they have considered the toughest schedule in the Big 12. The regular season schedule is tough. I mean, they're going to see some of the top teams in Iowa State, Kansas State, Arizona State, Utah, BYU, all the schools that are considered to be up and coming and the best. Houston's expected to be a lot better. They're considered a sleeper also on that list that we just talked about. And so for the Buffs, it's going to be about showing that they're going to be able to adapt, have a run game, and allow Caden Salter to do his thing. Because we all know Caden Salter put up some numbers. Here's the statistics that we had here. He's a dual threat, 2,800 yards passing, 1,000 yards rushing, 44 total touchdowns in 23, where he was killing it. And if Colorado has the right kind of run game set up in his offensive line with a Jordan Seaton who was on the Outland watch list on the offensive lineman, which he's going to end up probably being an All-American, one of the first in a while for Colorado on the line. Him being on that list and then adding these components on the line, there's a good chance that Colorado is going to have a solid run game and a good pass blocking, pass protection. If they can get that up, and then these running backs with the tutelage of Marshall Faulk hit them holes, guess what? There's a good chance that Colorado surprises everybody. Let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. We want to hear your thoughts. The experts are really seeing the way that Colorado is set up, especially on offense, that they'll be able to surprise some teams. And that's why they have them as a surprise team. Because the other component here is Rob Livingston is killing it as the DC. And he took a defense that came from bottom 10 to top 40 in just about every single category as defensive coordinator. He gave the Buffs and you fans a reason to believe that Colorado is not going to be just some, makeshift. They're not going to be that good. And leading the Big 12 in sacks, then adding a Jaheim Otis on there, adding all those components at linebacker and in the secondary to make sure the secondary is shored up. Especially even losing a Colton Hood, you bring in more pieces. This defense is built to truly be one of the tops in the Big 12. Like, there's a chance that Colorado can repeat what they did last year. The question is are there enough players to make that happen? We'll do a breakdown fully of the roster. We'll look at the depth chart. We'll make our guesses. We'll put all that together. That starts next week. We'll have that for a full 2 weeks. We'll look at all the games that the Buffs have going ahead, and we'll talk about the matchups between these teams because there's a lot of stuff to break down. And the good thing for the Buffs is as long as Prime and this staff really lean in on having a really good defense and controlling the clock, especially with a run game, there's a chance that the Buffs are going to walk in there and cause major issues in the Big 12. All right. What do y'all think about the warning? Let me know what you think. Hop in the comments. Do you think Colorado can produce that run game that will be enough for them to be able to, at least repeat what they did last year? I want to see a double-digit win season. I'm not sure if it can come this year as a possibility, but I think that having Julian Lewis, I believe that the Buffs will have at least one 10-win season with him at quarterback, especially the way the staff is set. Prime has done a really good job of retention, and he's also doing a really good job of replacing those that have moved into new spots, moved closer to home and all of that. I do believe that the Buffs have a chance to do that. So, want to know what you all think. Let us know your feelings on it. All right. We're going to break down rosters over the next week. There's so many numbers to look at. Gosh, when it comes to this team, I think the Buffs have a really good chance. Even Phil Steele was showing the Buffs some love. And for him, it's similar to what everybody else is saying. The biggest question truly is, where does the Buffs sit offensively now that, you don't have the star power that you used to have in Shedeur and Travis? It's going to be everybody's question. I know y'all probably tired of hearing it, but that is the one thing that everybody wants to know. What does this team look like now that those superstars are gone? I think they can be something that can surprise some folks. We'll dive deeper into this at the roster, so make sure you hit the like, subscribe, bell notification so you don't miss it. Check out the last video that we dropped. We were talking about the running back room as well. You can also look at the playlist here. Join the fam. Me and Dukes probably get together real soon, and we'll break down some more stuff. And, we'll chop it up soon.